Hey everybody, we're here with Andrew McMahon of Jack's Mannequin. Nice to have you.
Howdy, good to be here.
Great stuff. Tell us about your new album. When did it come out?
Glass Passenger came out, I guess it'd be end of September, early October of this past year. So, I mean, probably about 7 months ago? I have no idea. I've lost all track of time. Yeah, I mean, it's a record we definitely spent a lot of time working on. I sort of was basically touring for everything in transit while I was recording the Glass Passenger. So it was quite an effort and took quite a lot of work, but I'm definitely glad to have it out there.
Yeah, it's a great record. Debuted at number 8 on the Billboard charts.
Yeah, right.
Which was incredible.
That was a first for me. Yeah, we were definitely pretty pleased about that.
How exactly does this differ from your first album, which I guess came out in 2005?
Yeah, okay. I think my approach to the recording process was completely different. I mean, when I did everything in transit, it was really more of like a studio exercise or experiment. I was still with something corporate at that point. We'd kind of put the band on hiatus, but there wasn't necessarily an intention to make a record. I sort of was spending my own money and just going into the studio with my producer and we would just like go hash out a track in a day or two. You know what I mean? Just hey, I've got a song, let's go record it. And so it was sort of haphazard. And I mean, also in a lot of ways, I think what the charm of that record ended up being was that not to say that it was totally thrown together, because we definitely in the aftermath went through the trouble of making sure that it was refined, but that was really how we approached it. It was pretty much me and my producer, and then eventually I brought in my guitar player who was playing with me as a fill-in in something corporate. He came out to finish the guitar tracks, and Tommy Lee came in and played the drums in the aftermath. But it was definitely a pretty small event in the studio. This record, aside from the immense amount of time that it took to record it, I took much more of a band approach to the album.
Do you have like a book of poems and lyrics that you kind of turn to when writing your songs?
I journal pretty. I mean, constantly is maybe not the word. I go through these phases where I'll get inspired and I'll write constantly. That's like where a lot of like my blogs on my website come from, or just like straight out of my journal and stuff. So I do a lot of essays and then some poems and things like that. And it tends to be when I'm traveling, when I can't write at the piano. So. Yeah, if I sit down at the piano and I run into like a hard spot and I'm having trying to find some words, I will kind of dig back into the journal and see if I don't stumble upon phrases or more poetic kind of thoughts that end up factoring into lyrics.
Do you, when you write, does music come into your head as the words come in, or does that come later?
It's kind of a combination of things. Sometimes I'll hear a melody first, you know what I mean? And I use my cell phone as a device. I'll call my answering machine and leave, melodies, or, sometimes it's the words that come first, and you'll have this idea, with the song that I played, Swim. It was like, it was the word swim, and I was having just a crappy day, and I was like, swim, yeah, you gotta, you know what I mean? And you gotta swim, and that's where that came from,
Well, I found the tidal wave begging to tear down the door. Memories like bullets, they fired at me from the gun. With a crack of the armor, yeah, lights were for brighter days, despite the absence of the sun. Choking on some water, I'm not giving in. But
I sat down at the piano and then just started writing that kind of immediately. And I tend to write like that, where I'll sit at the piano and kind of do it all at the same time, and be processing words and melodies and music kind of all as one sort of consistent thing. What's up? I'm Andrew from Jack's Mannequin, and you are watching UGO.com.